Ooh, you see this money? Ooh, look at them racks. Witness them racks. Count up them racks. Ooh, you can't have these racks. Neither can I. I'm broke, alright? I got pretty much no money. This is my life savings, alright? What am I gonna buy with this? 2 coffee crisps and a crushed cream soda? That's nothing. When you're a gamer like me, you need cash. You're not just gonna get all this for free. Let me tell you something. AAA titles aren't cheap. If you want to play Assassin's Creed and Friends Home Depot Edition, then you're gonna have to pay up $60. Unless you're like me and you live in good old Maple Syrup Land, Canada, where our full price for games isn't $60, it's $80. Building a PC is a real pain in the ass too, you know? RAM, cash. CPU, shmoney. Graphics card, fat stacks. And not only that, once you've bought the motherboard, the case, and the power supply, and all the other stuff I talked about, then you gotta buy your keyboard, your mouse, your monitor, your headphones, your face cam, your microphone, your second monitor, your external hard drive for all your homework, your sick gaming chair, your Red Bull mini fridge, your third monitor, but that also means you need to buy your second graphics card. Guys, I know this is the way into the future, but it's also the way into the Great Depression. You remember that shit? You remember that from history class? Oh yeah, those were the good old days, weren't they? The worst part of all this crap is trying to buy old games, because it's not as easy as going into Canada Gang. It's not as easy as going into EB Games and asking, hey man, can I get some of that Mega Man X on Super Nintendo? If you want to buy old games, you gotta go online, or go to flea markets, or go to stores that actually sell them. And what sucks even more about this is that the prices of these games between these places aren't always consistent. Like one time I bought this copy of Gradius 3 for $30 at this one store, and like 2 weeks later I go to a different store, and I see Gradius 3 for $10, and I was like, god damn it, I could have saved a whole $20. But that wasn't the worst time I got screwed over like that. In fact, let me tell you about that story. So like 2 years ago, I bought this copy of DDR Max 2 from the same store I bought Gradius 3 for, I think I bought it for $25. But anyway, like, it was good condition, it didn't come with the manual though, but that wasn't my biggest concern at the time. So I played that game for a couple months or so because I used to be a huge DDR kid back in 2017, like Asian level huge. I played that shit all up until the end of 2017. So anyway, I played the game, I'm done with the game, and then I move on to other things. And now fast forward to the beginning of 2019. I'm at this pawn shop just looking at games, TVs, computers, speakers, whatnot, and I go over to the PS2 section, and I see a copy of DDR Max 2 for 2 fucking smackaroos. I was hella pissed. I could have saved a good $23. It even came with the manual. You want to know what I could have bought with $23? I could have bought 3.5 bags of 25-pound rock salt, or maybe 1/1000th of a steamroller. But then I had an idea. What if I bought this copy of DDR Max 2 at the pawn shop, and then sold it to the other store, and then maybe turn in a profit? And the thing was, the pawn shop and the other store were both in this big mall, and they weren't too far apart from each other either. And I was expecting to sell this game for at least $3, bare minimum, just trying to keep it realistic. And I didn't even care that I was only making a profit of $1, because it's a short amount of money, but it's still a profit. So I buy DDR Max 2 from the pawn shop, and then I go to the other store, and then I go to the counter, and then I ask the guy behind the counter, hey man, how much can I get for this DDR game? And the guy at the counter, he goes through the whole process of checking my game. He opens the case, he looks at the manual, he takes out the disc, he looks at the disc, he built a shelf he got from IKEA, he ordered a 33-piece security bit set, he fixes the disk drive in a Neo Geo CD, he develops a nuclear warhead, he reads Acts of the Apostles chapter 1 verses 12 to 26, he figures out how to summon God using a secret code in a vending machine, he dies, he comes back to life, and he closes the case. And he looks at me, and he says, yeah, I can give you $1 for this game. So I tell him, nah man, I'm good, and I take my game back. However, I thought to myself, out of plain curiosity, did they get another copy of DDR Max 2? And if so, are they still selling it for $25? So I walk back to that section of the store, and I found another copy of it, and it was still $25. And not only that, this copy was garbage. Like, it was super garbage. It had all these stickers and crap peeling off at the front, it had a bunch of rips in the spine. I don't even think it came with the manual. I say I don't think because I never actually opened the case, but let's be real, it probably wouldn't have come with the manual anyway. And I get it, that's how this business works. They buy stuff for cheap and they sell it for big bucks. But doesn't a $24 markup seem a bit overkill? Just a little bit. If this doesn't come to a surprise to anyone but me, then clearly I haven't tried selling my stuff to GameStop. Canada Gang. On the other hand, now I have 2 copies of DDR Max 2 and I got no clue what to do with the other one. So I guess if you guys want a copy of DDR Max 2, then I don't know, hit me up. But I'm taking the manual. That's staying with me. Alright, where was I? Oh yeah, cash money. On the subject of old games, you know what? Let's just talk about that for a minute. Mega Man X. Great game, one of the best Mega Man games of all time. Right up there with the likes of Mega Man 2. It got 2 sequels on the Super Nintendo. Mega Man X2 and Mega Man X3. And they're pretty good games in their own right. But straight up, fuck you to your wallets. Oh my god, you are not buying these games for under $50. I'll tell you that much. Radiant Silvergun is a very good but unknown gem on the Sega Saturn. Only released in Japan. A really good shoot 'em up that really deserves more attention than it gets. But don't you you love your wallet? Don't you want to see that little guy live another day and to see his beautiful face? Look at that smile. That's the stuff of dreams. Chrono Trigger is considered to be one of the greatest RPGs of all time. A great story, a unique battle system, all the things you'd expect from an RPG made by Square. And if you want to play it, then run them pockets, fella. We see that 2007 iPod Touch. Don't be trying to hide that shit from us. The Neo Geo family, home to some of the coolest fighting games you'll ever play, but it's also the part at the end of the movie where your wallet dies. However, I can tolerate these games because at one point or another they've all been re-released on more widely available platforms at much lower prices. But there's a game that refuses to get this sort of treatment. A legendary game by all means that's had a strong legacy of fans ever since it came out. This game is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. MVC 2 is the one game that I swear I'll never be able to play without having to grind my ass off for cash. And you know, it's such a good game too. The ability to play through on 3 battles with all your Marvel homies such as Spider-Man, Captain America, Storm, the Hulk, Cyclops, Diet War Machine! And of course, we can't forget about the homies from the Capcom side, such as the dude from the Lego City commercials, the dude I saw from Anime Expo last week. I don't know what this is. Cyclops' long-lost brother, obviously. Anyway, let's run down the different options of playing MVC2. Of course, there's the classic way of doing it. Go to an arcade that has MVC2, pop in a couple quarters, and have at her. It would be that simple, but last time I checked, arcades barely constitute as a thing that exists anymore, at least in North America. And even when you do find one, they'd most likely have something like Pac-Man or Street Fighter or Cruisin' USA, no MVC2. Of course, you don't have to go to an arcade. You could always just buy an arcade machine. The problem with that being, of course you don't have to buy an arcade machine. You could always just buy the parts of the arcade machine and just play it that way. The problem with that being there's a bunch of parts you gotta buy, such as your joysticks, your buttons, your JAMA harness, your power supply, the Sega Naomi board the game runs off of. And even when you've bought all that, you still have to buy the game itself. And at this point, yeah, let's just find a different option. About a year or two later, MVC2 got a bunch of ports to different consoles, the Xbox, the PS2, and the Sega Dreamcast. Now the Dreamcast version is like the best version out of all of them. It's like picking Charmander over Bulbasaur and Squirtle. It's even better than the original arcade version. Now here's the issue. The Dreamcast version just so happens to be around the $100 mark. But not only that, you also have to buy a Dreamcast. Unless you just so happen to have one lying around your house, but let's be real, you probably didn't even know this console existed until I brought it up. Another 100 big ones down the basketball net later and we're still not finished. You still have to buy an arcade stick. Of course, you could try to play it with a normal controller, but for anyone who's never played MVC before, just play this with an arcade stick, please, for the love of God. If you're a good child of Jesus, you play this with an arcade stick. Trust me. So another $100 down the drain later, we're now sitting somewhere around $300, which I do not have, so you know, next option, please and thank you. We could try the PS2 version. Unlike the Dreamcast, I actually have a PS2. In fact, I have 2 of them. Of course, still $100. There's a bunch of imports that go for $40, but I don't know how to boot imports on my PS2. And you know the drill, gotta buy an arcade stick. Oh my god, what the hell am I looking at? What kinds of arcade sticks are these? What's the point in this one trying to rotate itself? Why is this one so small? Nice name, by the way. I'm pretty sure last time I checked, I wanted to play games on a controller, not on a fucking anti-vax child. Oh, thanks, sweet baby Jesus. A kid who is vaccinated by their mother. And for $40, not bad, although I would question the quality of something so cheap. Anyway, that plus that equals somewhere around $140, and you know, we're getting somewhere in terms of making the price go lower, but I'll still consult another option and see if I can buy it for even less. Let's check out the Xbox version. $70. Alright, I could work with this. I don't have an Xbox though, but I have a 360, and MVC2 is compatible. I'm just gonna buy it. Wait a minute. There's some severe artifacting on character sprites. I don't know what that means, but I don't like the sound of it. Anyway, now we just gotta buy an arcade stick, $80. That's cool, and you know the drill. Y equals MX plus B later equals $150? Perhaps. A little bit more expensive than the PS2 version, but I can consider it. So my options are, I could destroy my wallet, I could destroy my wallet, I could really destroy my wallet, I could somewhat destroy my wallet, but have to deal with playing on these yee-ass looking sticks, slash the one that looks normal but seems very sketchy to purchase considering the price, or I could somewhat destroy my wallet, but have to deal with severe artifacting. I don't know what this is. None of those sound good to me. I'm either gonna be paying a ton of cash for the best experience or pay less for a watered down one. The thing is, I want to play MVC2 for a fair price and have the best experience, but with options like this, I have no clue how I'm going to do that. However, that brings us to our final option. In 2009, my prayers were answered. The option select I was looking for, the Holy Grail, the greatest MVC2 experience any man could ever dream of. What happened in 2009? I'll tell you. In 2009, MVC2 was re-released on the Xbox Live Arcade and PSN store. This is it. That's what I've been looking for. A smooth experience with no severe artifacting or stupid arcade sticks and on consoles that a good chunk of people would own. All I gotta do is buy me this arcade stick and get me an Xbox card. I'd assume it'd be nowhere over $20, and I am set. $100 for the best MVC2 experience. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now if this were the case, the whole MVC2 part of the video wouldn't even be here, alright? I would delete this entire part of the script, but there's a problem. You see, 4 years after it was released on Xbox Xbox Live in the PSN store. They took it off the store, meaning I can't even buy the game anymore. So of course that idea is going out the window, and at this point I have no clue what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll attempt to grind my ass off to buy the Dreamcast version, or just compensate with the PS2 or Xbox version. I'm not sure. I don't see myself playing MVC2 for quite a while, but it's something I really want to do someday. Until then, I'll be fine sticking with MVC1. I think at this point you get it. No matter how much you want something, there's always going to be some money involved, either by a small amount or money in quantities of hella. Like I said, when you're my age, you're not going to get really far when trying to buy stuff. That's why you got to deal with it. You know, it is what it is. When you want to buy something that costs a ton of money, you got to have phenomenal hustle and grind. You got to mow those lawns, rake those leaves, shovel those driveways, start a fucking lemonade stand. Do what you can to make money. And once you finally have enough cash to buy all the parts for your PC, or a year-long subscription to PlayStation Plus, or your $200 fight stick, or your 75 bags of rock salt, it feels good. What I'm trying to say is, even if what you want or what you're trying to accomplish takes a ton of your time and work, just keep going, alright? And eventually it'll work out. You'll get what you wanted, and you'll be happy to see how your work is paid off. Did I tell you how expensive Snatcher was?